Hey everybody, Brian Troe coming to you from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing with your fly fishing forecast. The date for today is January the 8th. So we had a lot of ice, a lot of sleet, a lot of freezing rain, some snow. Definitely didn't turn into the big snowstorm they had previously called for, but the good news is we got a lot of precipitation. So depending on where you were, if you were further north and west in the valley, you got some good amounts of snow that mixed in. Here in Rockingham and in Augusta County, it was more sleet and freezing rain. Down here at the valley floor, most of that's already melted off and gone. If you go up to the Alleghenies in the west, you're going to find more ice still hanging around and laying around. So good news is, had a nice big storm, more precipitation, made its way down into the rivers and into the water table. Tonight, there's a really big storm coming today, tonight, tomorrow, and Tuesday night. So they're calling for more ice tonight, more snow, and then sometime around 10 o'clock tomorrow, lots of rain. 2 inches of rain up to here in the Shenandoah Valley. Parts of Western Virginia might see 3, maybe even 4. So definitely a different pattern, like I've been saying for weeks. We're getting wetter and wetter and wetter, which is awesome. This is really going to go a long way to kind of not only getting the streams up, but getting the groundwater back. So we're doing well in that category. Wanted to talk a little bit today about bugs. A lot of folks asking about, being more specific on some of the nymphs and whatnot that we fish this time of year. So in general, most of the mayflies and caddisflies that were spawned last spring or last summer, they're in the water and they're very, very small. If they're not going to hatch until May of this year, they're still growing and they're still very tiny. We fish a lot of times in the winter. We'll fish pretty small flies. Zebra midges work great, size 18, size 20. Rainbow warriors work awesome, kind of an attractor, a small attractor nymph. Same thing, like size 18. So a lot of the naturally occurring bugs are really tiny, which is why you want to size down. Now, if we get a lot of rain and a lot of flow, you're going to have to fish a small fly, but you have to make sure it gets down. So that's when you're going to want to make sure you're fishing your jig nymphs that are typically tied with tungsten. So you can still have a size 18, but it could have a tungsten bead on it, as well as lead wraps or wire, etc., and that's going to help it cut down through the water. Now, one of the exceptions to that in the nymph category in the winter are our stoneflies. Big black stoneflies creep crawling all over the creek this time of year. They may get larger in the spring, but they're quite large compared to the mayflies that are out there. So your little black sloans, CK nymphs, some of our jiggy rubber legs, these all can imitate big black stoneflies really, really well. So you absolutely want to have some of those on you. And if we get some dirtier water or some big heavy flow, having a big heavy jigged black stonefly in some brownish water is a really great way to nymph fish for trout this time of year. So keep an eye on how much rain we get. I know this forecast is Monday and that rain's coming tomorrow. So a lot of you all may have questions, how's that affect the rest of the week? There's also, looks like another storm coming Friday. So these things are starting to line up now, like every 3 days and every 4 days instead of every 2-3 weeks. So changing conditions for sure. Winter weather, roller coaster, freezing cold nights, then milder days. So definitely check in with us for up to the minute stuff. You can always go to your stream gauges if you're trying to get out on the larger rivers in Virginia and West Virginia for real time. Those are like updated every 10 minutes to USGS real time stream flow. So check those out. Up in the mountains, same thing. If you want to go fishing for a few brook trout before all these heavy rains come or just after, the Blue Ridge to the east really didn't get the same level of ice and snow as Allegheny Front did to the west. And so that's where you want to look. Like I said, a lot of the mountains to the west are really ice covered. They're going to get more ice, then rain on top. So things are going to get gnarly pretty quick. Our larger freestone streams kind of down the valley floor, some of our delayed harvests, those are at pretty good levels right now. Those levels could go up. They could get a little bit big. I know it's been a while since we've said this, but like some of the streams could be unsafe to wade after these high waters. But in general, things go back down pretty quickly. So give us a little time to sort things out tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon or evening, and certainly by Wednesday morning, we should have really good information on what the water levels are and whether things are fishable, things like that. One place that's almost always fishable is Mossy Creek. It like other spring creeks, true spring creeks, doesn't have a drainage, or it has a very tiny one. So even when we get an inch of rain, 2 inches of rain, Mossy is not only fishable, but typically it fishes best. Those browns that have been in there sitting in bluebird sky, crystal clear water for months, being harassed by birds and everything else, they're going to get really good cover from dirty water. Dirty water does other things. It disorients bait fish. Bait fish get pushed out into parts of the creek that they are not supposed to be in. And so it's a great time to swing streamers. So those of you who love throwing big flies, big meat, and haven't really been able to for months due to low water, this could really be your first really good chance to get out your big gallop pattern flies, your double articulated streamers, things like that, and matching the watercolor a little bit, fishing some blacks and some olives, some darker colors, and get out there, finally throwing some heavier leaders, breaking out the 1X, and being able to dangle and swing flies. So hopefully that's what we'll see on the spring creeks. We'll see them getting clouded up, and we'll see some of those bigger fish come out and chase bait. Remember, the streams, the spring creeks, are anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees warmer this time of year than the mountain streams. And so, yes, you still need to be cautious and not, stripping your streamers too fast, asking too much of them, but the metabolism of those fish should be higher than some of our colder streams, our colder fisheries that don't have that spring influence. Water temps close to 33, 35 degrees. Those fish are going to be much more lethargic. So get out there on the spring creeks where you've got a little warmer water. They won't be as flooded, and swing some of those streamers, dangle some of those streamers, and see if you can't get a big fish. And this could stop us from fishing and floating for muskie for a few days or more. I mean, we get 2 to 3 inches on top of this snow and ice we just got, that we could be off the rivers for 4 or 5 days. So we'll have to see. It's hard to tell at this point, but for sure the storm looks pretty big and looks like it could foul up the larger drainages for several days. So hold off on the muskie fishing until you check with us and we can put some eyes on the water, or you see those gauges coming down to safe levels. But again, hopefully it puts some stain into the Shenandoah and the James and get a little bit of color going. That'll help the muskie fishermen quite a bit. All right, so that's it for now. In between big storms here in the Shenandoah Valley, waiting to see what the next one does, and thankful that we've got some water back in our systems. I'll see you all next Monday, unless I get a chance to do a quick little update later on in the week. All right, take care.